Hello and welcome to another episode of The Rebecca Saunders Show. I am very excited by today's conversation. I am joined by the fabulous Caitlin I can't say it. I overthought your name. Right. Got the video there. Say it again. Marwaha.
You can just say Caitlin. It's fine because I've got it written down, so I don't mind if you don't say it.
No, I do want to say it though.
Okay. Marwaha.
Marwaha. I overthought it. Anyway, let's try again.
Oh, I've lost you.
You've lost me? Am I from an internet connection perspective?
We should be fine on my end.
Oh. Should be all right on my end.
Okay,
right. I'll just do a clap so I can cut the audio. Okay, cool. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Rebecca Saunders Show. I am very excited by today's conversation, and I am joined by none other than Caitlin Marwaha, who is a fabulous stylist. And oh my gosh, your content that you're creating, Caitlin, is just incredible. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And thank you. If you give me a compliment on video, I am thrilled.
And you are doing an absolute incredible job. And I want to deep dive into that because I know it has been something that you've maybe had to overcome a few fears in front of the camera to do what you're doing now. But Caitlin, for those of our listeners and watchers that don't know you and don't follow you yet, you have gone from being a stay-at-home mum to an incredible, very successful CEO of a digital styling business in very few number of years. Can you run me through where you were and where you're at now?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So I'm a personal stylist, and I started really simply with a retail job and then a styling qualification. And for many years, for 7 or 8 years, did one-to-one styling services or branding with businesses and kind of how it was traditionally done. And then I've got 2 young kids. And at the start of 2020, I thought, how can I work with more women? How can I reach more women? Because at that time, my personal time was very, very capped. I could only work with maybe 1 or 2 clients a week because I still had the kids at home. So I had this idea to start an online membership. So that was, just gone 2 years now. And that was really my big step into the digital world. I did have a blog and I did migrate over to Instagram. And I think having a pretty engaged, beautiful community there gave me the confidence to see if I could leverage that into an actual paid membership program.
And you've definitely managed to succeed in doing that. You have. So in terms of moving into that digital space, did COVID have an impact on that decision, or were you already in the mindset of, I'm going to take this virtual?
So I started March 2020. And I'm in Melbourne. So just before COVID hit, really it was April for us, or the end of March. So I was just by luck kind of already dipping my toes into it and had no idea what a blessing the climate would be for my business growth. Obviously, super challenging time for everyone. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the business growth, it really was a beautiful climate for me to grow. There was some initial hesitancy. I think I had some success and then members dropped away when everyone was uncertain. But what's beautiful and what we're still seeing now about the online world is people are really searching for that connection or that education or that upskilling or whatever it might be. And the online space is just the perfect place for that to happen.
I completely agree. And you should be able to celebrate that it was a huge growth period for your business because, I'm in a similar boat. Video was in high demand during COVID and learning that. So as much as there is a lot of people that have been impacted negatively, it's nice to see and talk about the positives, right, of what came out of that. But you said you've got 2 small children at home, so they're obviously very demanding at being little ones. How did you go about starting to create that content when you were at home? From a perspective of overcoming that imposter syndrome, or, oh my gosh, are my husband and kids just going to think I'm absolutely crazy by standing in this room talking to my phone? Like what was going through your mind as you were just starting out?
Well, I had been creating content for quite a number of years. So doing like Instagram stories and getting up in front of the camera.
I think I may have lost you there. Have I got you back?
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened.
That's all right. You just froze for a bit and then disappeared. It's like YouTube video watching.
I just went in and I was like, do you guys have internet? They were like, yes. I was like, what's happening?
Oh, that's weird. That's all good. We can just pick up from the question.
Okay, great.
Yeah?
Yeah, sorry.
Are you good? Are you flustered?
Yeah.
Do you need time?
No, I'm right. Touched up my Lizzie. I was like, great, I'll do that.
Perfect. All right. So in terms of it being a lockdown situation, obviously you'd been creating content a little bit, from home, but in that situation where you've got small children, you've got their hubby at home, you're in lockdown, how was creating content under pressure in that environment? Like, what was that process like? Because obviously, those of us that are content creators, if we've got relatives or family members or household members that are like, really? Like, is that what you do for a job? Is that how that all works? You start to feel like you're a little bit crazy. What was that like for you?
So I think for many business owners, you can probably relate that it was a little bit of like this running on adrenaline, especially trying to like serve your audience, serve your people. So I was in this constant on like a content treadmill. I'm lucky that hubby and the kids are pretty like understanding. They were like, go for it. And so there wasn't necessarily embarrassment around that, but it was a big conversation around prioritizing it and being like, hey, this is really important that I do this. And something that potentially, particularly as I was just building it and starting out, I had to really stand behind it and be like, no, this is important. This is where it's going. These are the women it's supporting. I'm not just on Instagram doing like, hey guys, this is what I'm wearing today. So I think that it was a big shift once I stood in the importance of it. And then everyone kind of rallied up behind me.
I love that. It's about having that self-conviction, right? To back yourself and create that piece. And you've got hundreds of women that you're now helping through the membership that you've got, and creating that content. I've obviously seen the content, and you're creating some incredible, reels, short form videos that are really showing women of different body shapes and sizes how to dress and how to shop as well, right?
Yep.
In terms of creating that content, where do those ideas? Are you just constantly on the shopping front? Your wardrobe must be huge. Like, that's where my head goes automatically, right? So are you bulk filming this content? We'll start with reels and the stuff you do at home. Like, how are you going about creating all that content in the demand that you have for it? Because there's a huge demand. There's all these different items of clothing around, all these different body shapes. How do you prioritize and work through that from a content creation perspective?
Yeah, it is a lot, and I run the risk of burnout quite easily, because, as you say, I've got social media platforms, Instagram and TikTok, with thousands of women on them. I've got my membership program with hundreds of women in that, and then my course where I'm delivering live content in video form. So I definitely batch create. There is no way that I could create content every day. And women say to me all the time, "You're always done, like your hair's always done, you always have a face full of makeup." And I say, no, you only see me when I am,
only on filming days.
Yeah. But my business is very front facing. So I am with clients or on screen. So definitely batch creating, and I also planning. So inside the membership, we have monthly focuses. So I know what the content is going to look like loosely. But one of the biggest myths is the size of my wardrobe. It is small, and I don't shop very often at all, and that blows women's minds. But yes, I do have a studio out here, and then I have clothes in here, then I have clothes in my wardrobe, and my jeans are in my son's cupboard. So I have commandeered little bits of all the wardrobes in our house. But yeah, my content is really about wearing what you love, shopping mindfully, and, just knowing what suits you and your body shape, and communicating that through video can be challenging because I'm one person, I'm one body, I'm, a redhead, and I'm tall, and I'm a size 10, so I know that that's very niche. So finding a way to communicate that to suit a lot of women is probably my challenge.
But one, I think, from watching from the outside, though, I'd say that you're really sort of succeeding at, in a way. I know that some of your reels and videos, you have like a right-hand gal that comes in and films with you. Who is she, and how did you get her involved in, hey, come create batch record videos with me, I need your help?
Yeah, so her name is Melissa, and what's beautiful about my business is she was a content creator, very, very small following, but wanted to grow her following. And I feel so proud that by bringing her in and training her a little bit in content creation, she now has her own thing going on. She has brand deals, all of that. It's beautiful to see. But as you would know, in this climate, the call out for body shape diversity is so loud. And there are many brands out there who are not rising to the call, and the backlash is quite intense. And so I knew once the membership grew past probably 200 women, and I've got women of all shapes and sizes, all ages, all backgrounds, and I knew that I could not be the only face educating on what I was saying. So I reached out to Melissa, and she was just someone I saw on Instagram. She lives near me on the peninsula. And I said, hey, would you like to come and do a trial? And it's worked out beautifully. And she's a size 20, and it's not even about I'm a size 10 and she's a size 20. It's literally, she's shorter than me. She's got boobs. I've got more of a bum. She's, it's literally just another body. And it's been really, really successful to listen to what the audience want and to then be able to deliver on that.
I think it's fantastic. Like as soon as I started seeing her come into your videos, I'm like, oh, that's really quite cool to see how you'd style the same pieces or the same style of pieces for completely different body shapes and sizes visually, rather than just understanding the theory of it, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, very much so. So Caitlin, you've been dabbling in content creation for a while. Where did you learn it? Before I start asking you how you go about sneaking into shopping centers and taking some more crazy content, where did you learn the skills? Because I know there's a lot of business owners that will be sat listening or watching us going, well, it's all well and good. You know, you both are smashing it on the content creation side. You know what you're doing. It wasn't always that way though, right? We've had to learn it along the way. So how did you pick up the skills?
So when I just started out as a stylist, I worked for a online brand called Feather and Noise, who have a little styling suite where women can come in and try on the clothes. And I was their stylist for a couple of years. And this was just when Instagram was kind of starting out, and then video became very important. At that time, it was Instagram stories. And so they basically said, like, Caitlin, you have to be a part of this content creation. And I was so nervous. I was so nervous all the time. And they used to have the phone in front of me and say, talk about this new arrival or whatever. And we all had to do it in the team. And I'm sure that you say it all the time, but the more you do it, the more you get comfortable. And, you know, someone can look at me now in the shopping centers filming in front of everyone, but that's years of practicing and training for it, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that I didn't even ask you to say that, because that's what I talk about all the time, that practice does make perfect. And are you one of those content creators that have kept all the original content you've done up in public? Can people go and have a look at like the first videos?
Yeah, probably. Although I wouldn't go back and watch it. I rarely watch anything back that I create unless it's like a very clever 15-second reel, and I'll be like, yeah, that's good. I'll keep watching it.
I nailed that one. Yeah.
But the biggest thing for me was becoming okay with how I looked and how I sounded. I think that we get so hung up about we have to look a certain way or we have to sound a certain way. And as soon as I just watched my videos back or spoke in front of a mirror and I was like, that's what I look like and that's what I sound like. And it just removed such a barrier from me from trying to be someone else. Mm-hmm. And I think that like people, it's like what you wear. People will always respond to confidence before they respond to anything else. So if I was on this podcast interview nervous, even if I was saying the same things, the people watching it would feel nervous for me and they'd be like, oh, you can do it, Caitlin, you know.
It's so true.
So I just think that I was like, all right, that's what I sound like. My nose is a bit crooked. My one side of my lip goes up or whatever it is. And then that's it. Like, just move on.
I love that because, you know, you're so right. It is about finding your own style and being okay with those quirky bits, right? But I think you so eloquently put, I haven't actually said to someone, go stand in front of the mirror and just watch yourself speaking for a bit. And I love that. I might borrow that one. Thank you very much. I love that. And then in terms of like branching out, right? You talked about reels. They in themselves are a whole different ball game when it comes to creating content and content creation, and they can eat up a lot of time, right? In terms of coming up with those ideas. You're now jumping in and going into stores and shopping centers. Have you built like brand affiliations with those stores and shopping centers, or are you just sort of going in ninja style and doing a thing?
A bit of both. Yeah. If you see me in a store change room and I've got like the voiceover, that means I've filmed it silently, nervously in the change room, gone home and done the voiceover.
Behind the scenes sneak peek stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to pretend that I am, like super confident. But I did one reel where I had my husband and my kids in the shopping center with me. And I was doing this one where I was frustratingly walking across, like past all the fun shops and going to buy a basic white t-shirt, which is part of my messaging about buying basics. And it was so embarrassing. Like, it was so embarrassing to film it, and my husband has no shame, and he'd be like, no, come back, and like, but it was just the most well-received reel. And so sometimes it's just worth it to have a bit of fun, and everyone loves seeing it. I think everyone, you know, would comment, I would have loved to see the behind the scenes of this, you know. So I think personality is such a big part of creating successful content. But if you're just starting out, like, you do not need to go, as you would know, you don't need to go in to make a fool of yourself in public.
No, that's taking it to the next level, I think.
Yeah, that's advanced.
You have got to have fun with it. You definitely have to have fun with it, for sure. And in terms of, you know, where you see this content creation going, you know, you were very clear earlier, you can get to burnout really, really easily. And it's something that none of us want to get to. I mean, I've battled with that myself, getting to that point where you go, how'd I get here? And no, I knew it was coming. I just kept going.
Yes.
As your community grows and as the business grows, how do you see, as a business owner, being able to navigate that and keep on top of both the business stuff and the content creation that you've got to do?
Yeah. Content creation for me is so important. It's really, really key for the customer journey. I have a kind of business where I need to build so much trust before anyone jumps into the program. And my entry-level program is only $29 a month, but it's so personal for women that I know I need to show up. I need to let them into my world. I need to garner that trust with them. And sometimes it takes years. I think people don't realize, like, it's such a slow burn for people to become a follower and then to comment and to watch and then eventually pay you for something.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I just know that content creation is king, and that really helps me to motivate myself sometimes. But as I grow, I know that I will get to a stage where I will outsource potentially the filming and the editing, maybe build a little bit of a team around someone coming in to batch create with me, and then go away and like put all the little piece of the content together. And I think that's a beautiful thing about business growth, is that you get to a stage where you can do that. But I think it's important that everyone knows you can do it by yourself for a long time just with your phone.
Yes, you can. And that's exactly, you know, why I do the work that I've been doing in terms of that corporate side and doing the teaching of the video accelerator, is because you can just do it on your phone. You know, right now we were recording with just a simple webcam and a basic light. And as long as you know how to set them up and use them, you can create some incredible stuff. So you are just using your iPhone for the production of your content?
Yep. Yeah, and everything is me, myself, and I. iPhone, I do have a lapel mic for when I do like more tutorial style stuff. I've got a tripod, and that's it. You know, and so I've got, I don't know, over 50,000 followers across social media platforms. I do all the editing. And interesting for me is when I did a little bit of Facebook ads and I invested in a videographer, the content was too slick for my audience.
Interesting.
And so it was a really interesting thing to witness, that the organic content often connects or lands more than super, super slick, depending on your industry.
Very much so. And you know, again, you're hitting everything I need that I talk about, Caitlin. You're just doing this completely unprompted, and I love it. There's going to be a podcast for days. I'm going to be dining out on this one. But you're so right. You know, it's knowing your audience and creating content for them. Which I think is how you've been so successful in building the business. And I absolutely love the fact that you are doing it yourself, that it is keeping it simple, because, you know, you're making style simple, but you're also simplifying the process in the background, which I think a lot of people watching something like that can go, oh yeah, but they've probably got a huge team that's doing that. And you've just completely debunked that myth, which is amazing.
Yeah. And I totally get the overwhelm of like, how do I start? For me, TikTok was a huge roadblock for me because I didn't immediately understand the app, and I didn't know how to create a video within the TikTok app because it was different to the Instagram app. And so for me, that was a big like sticking point. And then when I realized that I could create content on an editing app I use InShot that I was comfortable with, and I could just upload from there, then you just have to find ways to get out of your own way. Because I was definitely like, I don't know, I can't do it. I don't know how to put the music with it. But I totally get that it can be a bit of a steep learning curve, but everyone can do it.
Everyone can do it. And I think, you know, you've hit the nail on the head there, regardless of what it is that you're doing. Anyone, you know, with the right tools and the right knowledge and just working out your way, I think is really key. And so Caitlin, I really want to land it there. And we've nailed so many awesome things. Now we've talked your content up like to the nth degree. Where can people come and find you and see this incredible content and see your amazing styling tips?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram, obviously, just by Caitlin Ann. I know that my surname can be a little intimidating, so there's no surname on Instagram, just by Caitlin Ann. On TikTok, Caitlin Marwaha, or if you're interested in one of the programs, it's just caitlinmarwaha.com/CM style, which I'm sure that you'll put all the links somewhere.
I'll be putting it all in the captions, in the show notes. They'll be posted everywhere because, you know, it is a very small investment, I would say, to be a member of yours with huge returns. And I say that watching it from the outside and on the cusp of jumping in myself, which really kind of I am jumping in. I've told myself after the wedding, I need to just take on one thing at a time, and that's quite a big thing I've got to focus on. So I'm coming for you. Caitlin, thank you so much. We definitely drove into a heap of video and styling conversations there, which I absolutely loved. I will continue watching all your videos. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I've really loved it.
Thank you so much for having me.